everyone. This is Jacob again, here with Thatcher of Sports Coach. We've got a little bonus round for you. So, I mentioned in some of the questions I was asking out there, I mentioned how my family would listen to your music. My girls, my daughters, 7 and 5.
Cool, yeah.
I always give them an opportunity to ask a question. And so, one of my daughters wanted to ask, do you like everything that you've made?
Wow.
You
What
touched
is
on it a little bit earlier, but
Yeah,
so I thought
yeah.
it was cool, but go ahead.
No, that's a great question. Thank you to your daughter for the question. Yeah.
For sure.
Um honestly, like at this point, not really, simple answer. It's just the project has spanned so much of my life that you change as a person, and if you make something many many years ago and you reflect on that when you're older, like you might not, it might just not mesh with you as much. It doesn't mean that it's not like, decent music or good music, but for me, like, there are definitely some releases that I listen to, and it'll come up on like Spotify if I'm listening to like my shuffle or whatever, and I'm like, oh man, it's too bad if people hear that track now as their first thing to me, because I don't really identify with that anymore.
Right.
Yeah, which is like totally cool, because one of my very first album that's on streaming platforms, Bo and His Dreams, like I've had a lot of people over the years talk to me about how much that album means to them, which is amazing. But when I listen to it now, I'm like, oh, this isn't really like my style anymore. So it's a little bit weird, but that's just how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Thanks for sharing about that. Um, Last one I wanted to ask you before we get into a little bit of equipment stuff. Um, you shared a story recently, which, by the way, I want before I ask this question, you share a lot of things to your story, a lot of cool sort of insider thoughts, kind of your thought process behind certain things, and I super appreciate that. So that's part of, among many reasons, why I wanted to do this interview, is to just kind of capture some of that in long form rather than just like a story that just is there for 24 hours and everything. So you shared a story that I thought was super cool recently. It's about um, One for Will,
Oh yeah.
and how, just to quickly add to that, that sort of created this legacy of song titles, one for such and such, such, and you have multiple releases, this one for some, and then so yeah, so just tell us about that story with One for Will and what that's all about.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that track was kind of a random one back in the day. This guy that was friends with a lot of my friends, like I started releasing music with when I was like 8, 19, 20, probably like 19. I started putting out music with this label based in Virginia. Um and at the time I was doing a lot of like DIY tours where I would go from like Boston to Florida, because it's like a super easy route. Like when you live on the East Coast, you can go on a tour and you can play a different major city every night that are only like, 4 to 6 hours away from each other. Whereas on the West Coast, like you're driving like easily 6 to 8 and more, and it's way harder. So I would do that a lot. And because of my connection with them, I started hanging in Virginia a lot, and I met a bunch of really great people down there that like I'm still friends with to this day. And yeah, one of the nicer guys was this dude Will, who was just super nice, and he was always kind of an enigma just because he was you wouldn't think that he'd be like super into like random weird underground music, but he was, and he was super supportive. And so back in the day, I just played some shows down there, and he, at the time, I didn't this is when I didn't have like fans, like I didn't have people that were into my music, so it was special when someone showed a lot of interest, like, hey, what are you working on, like, you got to put that out, you got to put this out. So I was sending him some demos, and he just really liked this one track, which was untitled at the time. And at the time I just thought it'd be funny to like name the song after him, because like, he was a very like different guy than my usual circle. Like this dude was this like really athletic, like ripped, really like just outgoing personality kind of guy.
Yeah.
So it was somebody different than like, these usual like hipster artists I was hanging around with. So anyway, he showed a lot of support and a lot of love, and so I named the track after him, and it started this kind of whole legacy. Um, and yeah, unfortunately, like he passed away
Mm.
somewhat recently, which was a huge shock, not only for me, but like, my friends from Virginia that I was closer with, I'm closer with them than I was with him. And it was a huge devastation for a lot of people. So yeah, it was really sad to see that all unfold. And it was super weird to have that track connected in a way. But yeah, he was a super, super awesome dude. And from then on, it kind of was like, every 1-4 track was for like either someone or something that was gone. Like I have a track one for Ponyo on the Coach of All Sports album. That was for a beta fish that I had that passed away,
Hmm.
but he was super chill. And then uh, one for Feinberg on Sports Spirits. Unfortunately, my partner, she has a lot of like kidney problems, and so a couple years ago she had to get a surgery to like get rid of some kidney stones, and this guy Feinberg was like her doctor, and it was stressful, but it ended up, she was okay. So I was like, I'll name a track after that guy. So it's kind of like every album I try to squeeze in like a track like that. And yeah, yeah,
Awesome. Is there a
yeah.
1-4 on the new album?
There is. It's actually, yeah. It's sad, but the last track is one more for Will. So yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. But it's an ambient track and it's super pretty. So I think it's nice. Yeah,
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's a
yeah.
tremendous story.
Thanks, man.
So super appreciate that. Why don't we transition into a bit of music, like equipment related stuff?
Yeah, for sure, man.
Um, so we're here in Thatcher Studio. Very
Nice.
cool little spot. So maybe you could highlight for us. You got a lot of stuff here. We can't cover this all right now, but maybe highlight a couple of pieces of equipment
Yeah,
that are sort of key to your process.
yeah, man. So the a lot of the stuff that I have, it's like cool stuff, but it's all like super budget. So like most people can accumulate any of this gear like over the course of years, which is what I've done. Like these are all like different, almost like presents to myself over the years. Like each piece of gear, it's like a big deal when I get it. So I definitely feel connected to like all of them. But like if I had to pick, like the MMT8, this is a MIDI sequencer, which is a pretty foreign piece of equipment to like most people. It basically like is a way for you to create and record songs, before computers were the normal. So I forget when the MMT8 was from. It was from like the late 80s, I think. I've had a couple different MIDI sequencers, but this is like I just love the workflow on it. It's really accessible, like once you understand MIDI, and it's fast to work on, which I like. So definitely the MMT8. And then also it's funny. Well, I don't know if you can see it. I'll show later, but it's just a gimmicky little piece of equipment where like all the instructions
That's
are
cool.
like printed on there, like on this weird flap. And then the other piece was probably just the Yamaha PSR 16. Um, this keyboard I've recorded some of my favorite music on. I don't really use it as much these days because I kind of upgraded. Like at the end of the day, this is kind of like a toy. I got it in a thrift store, I think for like $20 back in the day. But it does a lot of really cool stuff. It's got a lot of crazy cool sounds. Like even though it's not an analog synth or anything, it's got this like really warm, like almost tape like sound built into it, which is sick.
Yeah.
And a lot of cool patches, and it's got this like really cool ass thing where I don't know if I can remember how to do it real quick, but if you like play drums on here, like say the rock and roll beat, um oh, it died, hold on, yeah, this thing, one of the reasons I don't use it, it dies a lot. But if I play the rock and roll beat and I add some synth, get the delay off, um I can get like bass on here. Yeah, if I go to this B1, and this has been the basis for like so many songs I've written, is just like messing around with these like this drum beat. And then like where's the tempo on this thing? I totally forget. Anyway, you get the idea, but you can just do like these weird like I don't know, it gives you ideas to make songs built in it. Like it's just inspired me more than any other piece of equipment I've had.
Awesome.
So I think for me it shows that like it doesn't matter like if you're dropping like, you know 10, 15 grand on some of these synthesizers. Like some of my favorite music is like with toys. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, I'll just add on to that sentiment from my own experience as well. Like personally, I own a bunch of Squire guitars, and like I know Fender makes obviously a wonderful, beautiful guitar, but I'll buy Squires. Like I like them, I like the way they look, and it's affordable, and I'm like, cool, I can still make really cool music on a Squire. So
Yeah.
it kind of like dispels this myth, as I would say, that you need expensive equipment to make good music. It's just not true, in my opinion.
Yeah.
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 So
I would agree with that for sure. I think like music is more about like how much time you put in versus like how good your gear is. Like
for
if
sure.
you sit down and you write like 300 songs, then like you're going to have like, at least 10 to 20 really good songs, like, but that sometimes I feel like is the ratio. Like if I make like 15 tracks, I'll like really love like two or three, the rest are
Interesting.
still good, but it's like, it's just like the amount of time you put in, like anything, I guess. Yeah.
Quick follow up on that. So, um, going back to process, creative process, like, is that something you do for each album that you release? So you got 18 songs on the new album. Did you write what was the ratio again? Was it like 80 songs or whatever for that, and then you whittled it down to 18?
Yeah, this album was a little weird. It was like I was preparing to have an album done on that stolen computer, so I had like 30 on there that, and maybe I think five ended up on this new record. So it was like five out of those ones I thought were really good. And then the rest of it was like, I was like, all right, I came home from tour and I was like really inspired. So I was like, okay, I just want to sit down and like this album I was gonna put out, like I still want to make it. So I just will start from scratch. And so for that, I just pumped out like another like 10 or 12 in the course of maybe 4 months that I thought were good. But I only scrapped out of that batch like maybe, I don't know the exact number, but I probably scrapped like 8 to 10 ideas and then
Mm,
kept maybe like 10. Yeah, so it's kind of like, yeah, it's definitely, it's a high ratio of how many I cut from the ones I make. But I think a lot of artists, it's probably like higher. I don't know. Like I feel like I'm pretty lenient. Like I'll put something out that knowing that I was stoked on it at the time. And even if like, 5 months have gone by since I made it and I've been mixing and I'm tired of the track, I still know that there was a time when I really did enjoy it. So I'll
yeah,
still put it out. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm definitely like, I think I've been in the past, like people have said it's not that great to put out so much music, but it's like for me, I just like to make music. So I try not
Yeah.
to like put too much pressure into it. I'm just like, I'll make something else later. I'll just keep going. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. I think it's super awesome.
Thanks, man.
That's very good. Well, thank you again so much for your time, and just once again your hospitality, welcoming me here, and checking out your studio too.
Yeah,
So,
man.
everyone, be on the lookout for the new album.
Thanks, man.
And yeah, thanks again.
For sure. For sure.
All right.